Snow! Everyone likes a little snow. But I mean, some people like a little snow, and most people don't like a lot of snow. Lately, there's been a lot of talk about snow. Mostly because it got everywhere! Which is understandable. But how do railways take care of this problem? What do they do about it? After all, you gotta keep the lines clear. There's stuff to move. The supply chains. The stuff needs to get to somewhere. Come rain, come sleet, come hail, come so much snow. And yes, historically, railways have had to deal with this and have developed solutions for addressing the problem. The earliest thing that you could define as a snowplow wouldn't actually start out as a snowplow technically. It would be called a cowcatcher or a pilot. These are devices that are mounted at the front of a locomotive to deflect obstacles on the track that might otherwise damage or derail the train. Now, that's relevant, because snow is one of these things, and over time, cowcatchers became less cowcatchers and more just snowplows for the most part, but they still serve that dual function. The earliest idea was proposed by Charles Babbage in 1830, but the first practical version of a cowcatcher is generally credited to Isaac Trips, who fitted one on the John Bull. Again, it's for keeping stuff from getting, under the train in general, or the locomotive for that matter. Really anything, because larger things can derail it. Even, yes, cows can do that, and have done that. So, the idea of putting something in front to keep stuff from going underneath the engine, yeah, that seemed reasonable. But then, when snow happened, it was like, oh, we could just make these not, like, a grate. And now they're solid. Ta-da! It worked, and even a lot of modern diesels still have it, but this is only effective for, up to a point. You know, some areas of the world, which have railways, get, a lot of snow. A lot of snow. Taller than the engine. A lot of snow. And in those situations, well, what do? Well, again, this was thought of. And as we pushed out into the American West, it was realized that there was a serious issue because the Rocky Mountains were not playing when it came to the snow element. Prior to the advent of railroads, regular roads were generally just rolled, not plowed, in order to compact the snow down, because horse-drawn carriages could also function as sleighs, so you didn't necessarily need to get rid of the snow. But rail doesn't work this way, and required snow removal. In the 1840s, railway companies introduced what was called the bucker plow, sometimes just called a wedge plow. This is a very tall, very large plow that looks a bit like the front of a ship. And the idea is to, wedge into the snow on the line and push it to the side, get it out of the way. Most wedge plows aren't powered on their own, but are pushed along by another locomotive, sometimes more than one. Actually, in many cases, it would be a lot of locomotives, because think about snow is that it's very, very, very heavy. So just one engine, especially in the early days when engines were not nearly as powerful as they would get, just was not enough. So they had to use multiple locomotives to push the wedge plow forward and clear the line. This process could take a significant amount of time, and depending on the snow, could be a tremendously tedious process that would require not just the engines and the plow, but also manual labor, whole crews getting out and just digging because the plow wasn't enough. This problem was noticed with the wedge plows, and though they kept being used, there was another option that was invented a bit later. This type of snowplow, known as a rotary snowplow, was invented in Toronto, Canada by a dentist named J.W. Elliott, though he never built a working version or even a prototype of this thing. A man named Orange Jewel of Orangeville, Ontario, expanded on Elliott's idea and built working models. Eventually, he was able to sell his design to the Leslie brothers of Toronto, who formed the Rotary Steam Shovel Manufacturing Company, and began producing rotary snowplows. Rotary snowplows are a bit A bit crazier. What's going on there? That's neat. Well, they don't work all that dissimilarly from snow blowers that you might have for your driveway. Rotary snowplows were sent out whenever the wedges weren't enough. And depending on the design, they were either self-propelled or push like the wedges. But either way, they had a spinning, fan blade thing on the front, and this was used to basically take in the snow on the line and just blow it away, off to the side, like a snow blower. Whether they were self-propelled or not, they always needed something to be powering the blades for obvious reasons, and early ones were steam-powered, as you can imagine, though as things changed, diesel versions and even electrics were introduced. They were an incredibly successful design and very good at what they did. They are pretty expensive due to their high maintenance costs, so railroads don't like to use them unless they absolutely have to, but sometimes they absolutely have to. It's either them or just kind of shovel everything out of the way, and for certain areas that's not possible. Union Pacific, for example, still keeps 6 rotary plows among their fleet, and those are reserved specifically for Donner Pass, which is notorious for an excessive amount of snowfall. Over in Japan, they also still use rotaries, again for their mountain passes, because it's just the best way to get the snow out of the way. It's a thing you have to do. It's either do that, or don't get the trains through, and the latter is definitely not an option. But as crazy as that seems, that actually isn't the craziest idea when it came to clearing the tracks of snow. There's one other that I need to talk about, and it's very important to me that we discuss this, because it's not very well documented, but it is a thing that totally happened, and still is a technique that's used. Not on very deep snow drifts, but some railways have opted to introduce jet engine snow blowers. What? Why? How? Whose idea was that? It was New York Central's fault, actually. The earliest one that I am aware of was introduced in 1968 by New York Central, right before they merged with the Pennsylvania Railroad. It was effectively a snowblower, but utilizing a jet engine to just blow the snow directly off the screen. As ridiculous as it was, it totally worked. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Jet engines produce a lot of thrust, and the thrust is hot. So, actually, it kind of functioned pretty well for their needs. Though they didn't operate alone. It wasn't just the jet engines. No. Because they were also worried about ice buildup on the lines. So, behind the train pushing the jet engine, they also had one of their weed burner cars, which used a friggin' flamethrower to scorch the lines with the heat of 1,000 suns to melt any remaining ice. New York Central was not playing with the fluffy white stuff. They're over it, okay? The jet engine thing, not so much the weed burner, but the jet engine thing is still seen sometimes on railways. And for smaller amounts of snow, it's definitely cheaper than a rotary, but also potentially easier and more reliable than a wedge. And if neither of those options work, then the crews are going out with shovels. That's the last option. Pick up the shovel and do it yourself. Like, we can listen, that's where we're at! The train's still gotta get through, guys! Till next time, this is Darkness and a Bidwell of Fun, farewell!